I want to talk because there is a little bit of an escalation as well in the whole Iran war. I know we're pivoting off the trans issue pretty abruptly here, but I got to get this out before I run out of time. Iran is getting Chinese shoulder-launched missiles. This is really big. Iran is expected to receive within weeks of first shipment about 400 Chinese-made shoulder-fired air defense missile launchers. Three sources familiar with the deal told Reuters. The purchase, valued at $60 to $7 million, is one of Tehran's largest known efforts to strengthen its short air-range defenses since the outbreak of its war with the U.S. and Israel, which exposed gaps in Iran's ability to protect military sites and strategic infrastructure. It's a forever war. Russia's supporting Iran. Dude, the Cold War never ended. I'm just going to be real with you guys. The Cold War never ended. The Cold War, people see it as ending with, the end of the USSR, but like, look at this shit, man. Well, it's generally considered to have ended when the USSR collapsed. Washington abruptly suspended 2 weeks of bombardment on Saturday, but Donald Trump said his strikes to the resume of negotiations failed to end the 5-month-old conflict. Yeah, China wants that sweet Iranian oil. I'm not shocked that they're doing this, because there's a lot of shit going on. The fucking fact, like, we're running out of missiles, too. NATO even is worried about this shit. Here's this.
Going to pay after it fired a barrage of missiles at American forces in Jordan overnight. For more on this, we are joined by Keith Kellogg, who is a retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General.
By the way, you can blame all of this, again, like, generally, you can blame most of this on Republicans from, like, 30 years ago. Because remember, you can distinctly link most of this back to the Bush administration or even the Reagan administration, dude. This shit's awful.
Thanks for coming on. Always great to see you.
Good to see you, Bill. Thanks for having me.
So CENTCOM says this was a surprise attack. They shot all the missiles down, but it came in the middle of, I guess you could call it, another little mini ceasefire after the U.S. stopped bombing on Friday. President Trump isn't happy about this. He had a phone call with our colleague Trey Yingst earlier today. He said in part, quote, "We'll be hitting them hard. They're going to get a beating."
And I doubt this. Well, maybe they do, but the fact that China's, like, stepping up their defenses or stepping up their support, like, they keep on saying Iran's out of this, Iran's out of this, Iran's out of this. This is why you know that Iran's not out of this. They have enough money to make a deal with China, and they're going to give away oil for it. They do not care if the people suffer. The people don't even care at this point. The U.S. has been directly attacking them for no reason for months. They're not going to want the U.S. to stop this. No, they're not going to want the U.S. to receive the quote-unquote victory lap. Because the people in Iran are not going to be happy with the U.S. right now.
There were a couple expletives in there as well. In your opinion, what is that beating going to look like?
Well, to start with, Bill, they don't care. I mean, I've seen this experience in my lifetime in a military career. You can think you're going to bomb somebody in negotiations, but you've got to turn that on its head and say, what does this enemy look like? What's he thinking about? What does a theocratic government do? If you want to go tit for tat, go tit for tat. But I think we're coming to a place where we're talking about will. Am I going to close this deal?
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. He's not wrong here.
Or not?
They don't care.
You know, we went into this war. Now it's our job to finish it off. And so should just be an
Wow. He's just like straight up admitting it. We went into this war, so we have to finish it. That's shocking. I didn't expect him to do that.
example that I have to go a little bit further. Look, I remember in the first Gulf War when I was sitting on the berm right outside of Iraq, and we watched 30 days of bombing thinking that Iraq was going to fold. They didn't. They actually fell when we crossed into Iraq, and within
God, Fox really wants us to do boots on the ground, man. Israel is so clearly showing their cards here.
48 hours, I was sitting on the banks of the Euphrates. Within 100 hours of that attack, they were done. They couldn't believe we had done that to them. And I think we need to think like that. So I think what we need to do is adjust and say, instead of just saying, well, they're going to pay a terrible price by bombing, they don't really care because they will absorb this punishment. That's a hard thing to say, but you'd better understand what they're doing right now. And I think to get over that, I think you need to maybe change your strategy and to say, okay, We need to think where it really affects them. How does it really hurt them? For example, Bill, with you, if I went in, if I took your home or took your car, that affects you. It's going to affect what you're doing in the future. And we should kind of think the same way. And I know it's really hard. Will may not be a principle of war, but it's a principle of leadership when you get.
At a certain point, it just feels like Israel is fueled entirely by the blood and bodies of brown people. I mean, they are. I remember I came across a video about the 6 Days War recently, and the comment section is just full with the most Islamophobic bullshit I have ever seen, man. Like, come on, dude.
Get into a gunfight like this, who's got the stronger will to finish? And the thing I said the other day is pretty important. The fact of the matter is, if you let a bad team stick around for a long time, like you've seen in football in the fourth quarter, they can tend to do something that you weren't expecting. So you got to close them out early. I think we've gone beyond that. I think we should close them out now, figure a way to finish this fight.
Okay, and that's obviously
Which means boots on the ground for them.
part of the daily, hourly discussion that's happening inside the administration, General. So leave us off with where you see this going next, considering President Trump, I believe it was at that, when he was in Michigan, he said we're close. How close do you think we are? And, you know.
Not close at all. Again, for the fucking morons in the comment section who keep on saying like, oh, you're pro US, you're pro Iran, blah, 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 blah. I'm pro neither. Because like, if we were close to this, or we close to a deal, the delivery of 100 demand pads would not happen. QW12 and FN16, man. Anti-ship cruise missiles. Oh my god. China's making so much off of this.
Well, Sam,
China, dude, we used to talk shit about China, but now the US has flock cameras everywhere, a country full of smog, and basically an autocrat at its top position. Meanwhile, China is making an artificial sun, like unironically making an artificial sun.
Andrew, you know, I don't think we're close in that regard of finishing the job if we're just dependent on bombs.
It's literally the difference between spending all your budget on military assets versus spending your budget on improving your country. And China's not a good country. I'm not pro-China. Let me make that clear. Let me be clear. But
I mean, look, they've got a philosophy.
They've been doing it better.
It's called Mosaic, which is their defense policy. And if you look at it and you look at their principles of negotiation that their foreign minister wrote, Rachi wrote, this is in their game plan. They plan to extend this fight. So I think that's where the president gets his advisors and say, what are we doing wrong, or what should we do differently that we're not doing right now? I don't think we're there yet. I haven't seen it. I'm sure he's got great advisors. They're telling him what to do, or not telling him what to do. They're giving advice.
Freudian slip of all time. They're telling him what to do. Wait, no, they're not telling him what to do. Oh my god, dude.
Going 8,500 miles an
I
hour.
want to see what Trump was saying about this.
So we had 5 rockets shot going 8,500 miles an hour, and all 5 rockets were knocked down to the ground. But they nevertheless took a shot, so it's our turn.
You can see the terror enter him after that slip. Oh yeah, dude, that shit was fucking funny.
And we'll see if we get there with an agreement at some point, but we're going to hit them very hard.
President Trump.
God, his eyes are so red. I don't know if it's just been me noticing this, but his eyes are so red all the time recently.
And we'll see if we
It looks like he's having
with
poor liver function
an agreement at some
constantly.
point, but we're going to hit them very hard.
President Trump, moments ago, speaking in the Oval Office, saying that the United States is ready to unleash on Iran after the launch of multiple ballistic missiles at U.S.
Every day he
troops
inches
on the
closer to
border.
hell, but he keeps fucking holding on. Did you guys see this? Trump falls outside of limousine. Oh, is it fuck? Videos spreading across platforms showing Donald Trump falling to his knees, needing help to get a version. Liz Luzino was fabrication manipulated using AI, according to TikTok user who posted it. Fuck! It was AI. Never mind. But he did struggle to get it. Okay. That makes sense.
The Pentagon says that every missile was intercepted. There were no American casualties. But one of the central developments here is that the United States and Saudi Arabia together quickly hit back with attacks on Iran-backed militia in Iraq, reportedly taking out several.
We just can't help ourselves. We gotta bomb Iraq, guys. We can't help ourselves. We have to bomb Iraq.
Iranian leaders were waiting on identification of which leaders those were. So with that, we bring in retired Vice Admiral Robert Harward, former Deputy Commander.
Can we stop bringing in these retired fucking losers, man? Like, they don't know what they're talking about, ever. They just get money from Israel and say the lines on the screen.
Of U.S. Central Command and member of the Iran Policy Project at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America. He grew up in Iran, went to school in Tehran. Admiral, great to have you with us. Thank you for joining me.
Wait, what?
Admiral, great to have you with us. Thank you for joining in Tehran. He grew up in Iran, went at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America. He grew up in Iran, went to school.
This guy grew up in Iran? How much money are they paying you, dude? He does look like, oh my god, he does look like Deadpool. He looks like the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool.
Tehran.
Worst version of Deadpool, by the way.
Great to have you with us. Thank you for joining me. Tell me what you think about this. Is this an escalation and expansion in terms of countries that are now involved in this, with the U.S. and Saudi Arabia doing joint strikes?
Without a doubt, Martha, you're seeing the pressure build on Iran
After taking money from Israel, all morals have been worn away.
all
True.
fronts. Not only was Saudi participating in this attack, but you're also seeing
He is so okay, guys, I don't know if it's me just being psychotic here. Look at the difference where she's looking at the camera and he's clearly looking at a teleprompter.
in this attack, but you're
Because
also
I'm looking at his eyes like I'm trying to make eye contact, and I can have it with her and I do not have it with him.
seeing up in Lebanon. You see the Lebanese government making an agreement with Israel to undermine and try to get rid of Hezbollah. You're seeing the
Hezbollah. Yo, dude, Hezbollah. They be balling in Hezbollah.
British willing to contribute ships to the blockade. You're seeing other countries willing to go after the Houthis. So
Dude, this guy does not give a fuck.
pressure is building tremendously in Iran, and you're starting to see some of the breaking points there. In the executions in Isfahan yesterday, the people came out to protest, and they had to shoot them down to prevent them from overwhelming the execution team. So the pressure in Iran is building, and we could see a tipping point come here in the not too distant future.
Yeah, but it also built during Saddam Hussein's reign, and that didn't do anything.
Yeah, but
Least robotic teleprompter speech ever. True.
keep sort of making these very aggressive moves. This attack towards U.S. Assets, U.S. individuals in Jordan. Thankfully, they were shot down. And then you have this news that China is supplying them with shoulder-fired missiles. Now, this is a Reuters report. We just heard the president respond to a question from Jackie Heinrich on this. He said he does not know if that is true and that he would be disappointed in President Xi if it is. Your thoughts on that?
On both of them, they have to show they have some power left, so they've got to shoot missiles. Now, they're very specific. They shoot where they can have the most impact. They shoot quickly, so we can't respond and take out their missiles and drones. So they've got to show they have something left, and that's all they've got left. And back to China. Look, Iran is directly in China's sphere of influence. They get a lot of their oil from there at a discounted price that they can't get on the open market. Aside from that, Iran is an authoritative, repressive government that undermines the West, just like China and Russia do. So in both those regards, it illustrates how important Iran is to China. And you talked about those missiles. We don't know if they went in before the conversation the president had with Ping or after. And you have to assume they could have been supplying them all along, but it illustrates how important those landlines are, the ability to move stuff into Iran through the landlines. So shutting down those landlines should be on the president's agenda.
Yeah, dude, they don't care, man. He clearly doesn't give a fuck. It's so obvious. Do you remember when he went swimming in the creeks in the 70s because millions of gallons of sewage water flowing over here? They're all the same geriatric fucks. The Iran war is just another forever war. This is how people were talking, by the way, like during the Iran-Iraq war and the Iraqi war and the invasion of Afghanistan. This is the same shit, dude. This is the same fucking shit.